So there you are, sitting at your computer, extremely bored, browsing the Steam store looking for something new to play, even though you have a library full of games, half of which you probably haven't touched yet. But you're in the mood for something different, and boy do I have something different to show you. What you're looking at is Into the Radius, a VR survival shooter that takes place in a very desolate and eerie environment. You loot, you shoot, and you survive if you can do the first two really well.
Well, shit.
There's plenty of weapons to use to ensure your survival, from an old Soviet bolt-action Mosin to the most iconic military rifle in existence, the M4. Take your time exploring the world around you, because the tools to your survival are scattered across the radius, just waiting for you to find them. And while this game may not truly be a horror game, you are likely to be scared at some point as a new explorer.
Jesus Christ! Don't sneak up on me like that, man. Come on.
We'll be taking a look at some of the key elements of this game, and by the end of this video, I hope you're convinced to start your own journey in the Pachorsk Zone. Into the Radius, which I'll abbreviate from here on out as ITR, has a very interesting environment. From the lack of other living things to the lack of color, it makes you feel like you're walking through a wasteland. If you're like me, this type of landscape is very intriguing. We don't know why this place looks the way it does, but it's so outlandishly different from the real world that it's practically begging to be explored. As we look around the Pachorsk Zone, which is the name of the region this game takes place in, you'll notice there are a lot of unexplainable things happening around you. Rocks floating randomly in the air, a set of train tracks that lift off the ground, a big hole in the ground filled with gas, and the elephant in the room, that weird looking thing in the sky. That thing is not the sun, it's called the Radius, and now you know how the game got its name. Now we can't talk about the environment without bringing up the entities that exist in this world. There are no humans, only human-shaped and other mutilated enemies that you'll be fighting. There are dangerous tumbleweeds, psychopaths that sprint at you, nearly invisible phantoms, and a whole host of other, quote, living things trying to kill you. And not only do we have those living things that wander around and try to kill you, we also have non-living things that pose a threat as well. Gas, dangerous tapeworms, Vietnamese punji traps in a colorless fashion, tasers that hurt like hell, and a host of other anomalies that want you dead. These are the obstacles you face in Pervme Route and Balaki Village, but you begin to encounter even more dangers as you move deeper into the zone. Now if you're a Stalker fan, this next part is something you should be very familiar with, hunting for artifacts. Just like in Stalker, we have a detector on us for revealing the hidden artifacts buried within the ground. So if you think artifact hunting is fun, you're really going to love doing it in VR. There's nothing better than digging around an anomalous field, throwing probes to avoid stumbling into an anomaly, chasing the ticks coming from your detector, and revealing an artifact that's going to earn you hundreds of dollars. But if you're not careful, the anomalies will have their way with you.
Oh, fuck.
So despite the environment looking and seeming dead, it is very much alive, but it wants you dead, and I think that blend is what makes this setting pretty incredible. If the attention to detail of the weapons in a video game is something important to you, this game is right up your alley. Not only do you have to manually perform all the actions to load a magazine, chamber a round, and actuate the safety, but you also have to clean your weapon and load ammunition into those mags. Let's do a quick demonstration.
Right here we have the Makarov that you start off with, and here we have a magazine with 5 rounds in it. In order to get the magazine in, we just need to push it right in, and then to get it out, you just press this button and hold it down. The magazine releases to halfway, where you can just pull it and take it out. If you don't want to take it out nice and clean like that, you can just press that button and it'll eject straight out. To unload the rounds from the magazine, you just need to press the trigger button with the hand that's holding the magazine. And then in order to load this, you can do it one of two ways. You can either take these loose rounds and put them directly into the top of the magazine, or you can take the box and put it right next to the magazine, and it will autofill until it gets full. Either until this gets full or this runs out of ammo. One of the two things happen. Now in order to load this, we just do what we did earlier and slide the magazine in. And we're not chambered yet, so if you'll notice, when we pull the slide back, there's nothing in there. So this, off safe, will not fire. In order to get it ready to fire, we have to pull the slide back the whole way and release it. And if we pull it back just slightly, we can see that piece of brass right there, letting us know that we now have a round in the chamber and we are ready to go.
Pop it on. Don't think, just go. Here we go. Do it.
Shots fired! Hey, Terry, I did my first test pop.
As you continue to play through the game, you unlock the ability to buy many different guns, and you may even find some laying around in the game world. One very cool aspect of the weapon system is that they don't last forever. They slowly break down as you use them, forming spots of rust in certain places, and you have to clean them to bring their condition back to 100%. There are 4 tools we need in order to clean: WD-40 and a brush, and a ramrod with toilet paper. With these, we can bring any weapon of yellow condition or better back to full durability. Be careful not to let the condition enter the red, or else you have to spend money in the train car to repair it. We can modify our weapons with parts either bought from the shop or looted, therefore improving the usability of your gun. As an example, I hate the AKS-74 use iron sights, but with a red dot toss on it, I love that gun. It becomes so much easier to use, and during my first playthrough I used it for a very long time. You can add other different optics such as magnified ones, and there are underbarrel grenade launchers, suppressors, laser sights, and more. Now we'll talk a little bit more about the ammunition system in the game. It's quite simple but effective, honestly. For the sake of this video, we'll use 9x18 since that's the caliber you will be using at the start. 9x18 has 4 types of different rounds: FMJ, AP, plus P, and subsonic. FMJ is your baseline ammo, providing full damage and low penetration. AP ammo is the inverse, giving you lower damage but high penetration. Plus P is the strongest 9x18 cartridge in the game, with double the amount of damage as FMJ and slightly less penetration than AP. Subsonic ammo is what it sounds like it is. It has the same damage and penetration as FMJ with a lower muzzle velocity. Lastly, in addition to performing well, the guns look nice, with some cosmetic scratches on them to give them a bit of a used look. Overall, the weapons feel great, and with the amount of shooting you'll be doing in the radius, this was certainly an aspect they had to get right, and they nailed it. You can't create a looter shooter without a solid looting and shooting system. We just went over how well the weapon systems perform, so now let's go into how it feels to loot items and manage space on your character. First off, the backpack. The backpack provides a good deal of space to carry mostly all of the stuff you'll pick up for a decently long journey, but after you reach 30 kilos, you move at a snail's pace. There is a slot on the side of your backpack for a second long weapon, which is great to have if you leave it empty when you venture out and find a shotgun or rifle laying on the ground. I personally use it to carry my long engagement rifle. When I leave the base, I typically carry extra food, ammo, medical stims, and a regen artifact. This does not leave a ton of extra room for anything else to stack in a neat and orderly manner, but that does not matter. You can layer stuff in this backpack in any configuration you need to, collision be damned, and it'll still be there. It may become even more messy as all the stuff collides, but it'll stay in there. I prefer this to a slotted backpack that only allows you to carry, say, 15 items before you have to start sacrificing for other items. Your only limit is the carry weight, so pack light when you leave the base if you want to loot up. Next up, the storage space on your person. If you extend your arms out, there is a slot on each forearm for storage. This is a great spot for items you need to access quick, fast, and in a hurry, like med stims. On your chest, you also have storage. You have one on the left side and one on the right side. You can LARP as a World War II soldier with pineapple grenades here. Looking down, we have 4 magazine pouches and 1 dump pouch. Depending on which is your dominant hand, you also have a holster for your handgun. This is a simple setup, but it works. Unfortunately, it is not modular, and that's the main gripe I have. But this is still a great and useful setup. There aren't so many slots that you forget where stuff is, and not so few that it feels like you always lack the ability to carry things. So, how does it feel to loot stuff? With the way the inventory management works, looting is pretty great. It doesn't feel restrictive, and you have the freedom to organize your bag however you want to. Personally, I think the bag could be larger, and I wish that we had a slider setting to adjust how much we are allowed to carry before becoming overweight. I understand that 30 kilos is a lot of weight, And I personally would not want to run around with that much weight on me, but this is a video game, and I would appreciate the option to carry around at least maybe 10 kilograms or more. Oh, and the cabinets can be quite janky at times. Lastly, we move into our base. In here, we're given several compartments in a weapons locker for storage, as well as a tiered wooden shelf, a table vise and overhead storage, and several cabinets. There's plenty of space in here to store all the stuff you need, unless maybe you're a hoarder and collect everything you find, but I've personally never had an issue. It's a great little spot for stashing all your guns, ammo, miscellaneous gear, and the knickknacks you find along the way. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, so this will be very brief. You start out not knowing who you are, where you are, or what's going on. You don't even know how you got here. You gain entry to the secure base, and there's a man over a loudspeaker who gives you a rundown on what you're here for. You accept your first mission, and go out to retrieve that item, but on your way back, you run into this glowing white statue of a girl who says she needs your help. Well, what's that all about? Why does she need my help? As you venture around, she pops up in other places, giving some context to the area, but we still don't know who she really is, or what she wants other than for us to find her. Is she being held hostage? And how is she able to appear in statue form in so many different places? But aside from her, you might find yourself wondering, like I did, who you are playing as, and how this place came to be the way we're seeing it. This game gets quite interesting and mysterious with the post-mission notes you receive in the mid to late game missions, but I already told you I don't want to spoil it for you. I'd really like you to play through it yourself and solve these questions, and let me know after you beat the game what you thought of it, because it can still be a bit of a head scratcher. And last but certainly not least, fighting the enemies in this game is the star of the show. With the combination of VR and the great weapon mechanics, the combat works flawlessly. Whether you're using a handgun, a rifle, or a shotgun, you're going to have a great time shooting stuff. Sight alignment plays a big part in aiming in this game, or any VR shooter done correctly for that matter. If you've shot a gun before, or you like shooting in any capacity, you might already know what that term means. But for those of you who don't, let's talk about it. Sight alignment in the case of this Makarov with iron sights is the alignment of the rear sight notch with the front sight post. With those two lined up, we form a proper sight alignment, and when we pull the trigger, the bullet should go where the front sight post is pointed. Any deviation between the rear sight notch and the front sight post will throw off the point of impact of your rounds, so keep that in mind when you start playing, because wasting ammo can lead to your untimely death. For anything with a stock, we have a setting called Virtual Stock that helps these weapons seat into your shoulder, eliminating any sway from the rear end of the gun. I found the setting to help out a ton when it comes time to start taking really long range shots with a scoped rifle, so if I were you, I'd enable this setting if it isn't already. But to showcase just how fun the combat can be, let's go do some shooting.
Oh, Jesus! What the? Oh, God. Oh. Damn it, dude. Right here. Whew, that was not good. Swing this. Ooh. Yeah, run away. I don't see him. I don't need to see him. He's coming after me. Got a surprise for you. Yep. push. I want to hit him with this grenade launcher so bad. Are you kidding me? You've been killed by yourself. Oh, shit.
Now, maybe you're sitting there and wondering, why now? I mean, this game is like almost 4 years old, isn't it? And you're right, it is an old game, but you can't get an experience like this anywhere else on PCVR or Quest. And just in case you've been living under a rock for the last half year, the sequel has been announced and the early access is starting in the next few months. So I wanted to make this video for one reason, and that's to get more explorers into this game, so they can familiarize themselves with the zone to better prepare them for Into the Radius 2. Oh, and ITR 1 will be included in the Steam Summer Sale later this year, so it's definitely worth trying out for the discounted price. And that's it. I hope you guys had a good time watching this video, and if you've never played ITR before, I hope you're convinced to try it out, and join the community Discord at the link down in the description. Now get out of here.